Greetings for another installment of our True Story videos. Guess what? For 24 hours, starting on May 6th at 6 p.m., you can donate during Give Big Gallatin Valley to help us stay connected with you during these COVID-restricted times and keep us going so we can continue to bring you more online programming and eventually, when allowed, to start performing live for you. It's easy. Go to www.givebiggv.org between 6 p.m. on May 6th and 7th to help us out. Anything is appreciated. And now, on with our video with Kate Bryan and Helga the Viking Woman.
Hi, my name is Kate Bryan, and I have a story to tell you. I was 27 years old and I was working as a marketing and logistics analyst at the Pillsbury Company and living with my sister Barb in Minneapolis when I gave birth to Helga the Viking Woman. Well, I didn't actually give birth to Helga, but she was born out of my imagination and the heart of Viking country as I prepared my costume for our annual Halloween bash. Yes, Helga was born out of the stifled corporate geek's creative brainchild and born with a full head of hair, braided hair, and a Viking helmet with 2 large horns and a large chest plate with a Viking shield and a sword, which I have since lost, by the way. Like any proud mother, I wanted to show Helga off when Halloween was over. And that's when I began living secretly as Helga the Viking Woman. Of course, living the secret life of Helga the Viking Woman wasn't exactly a career path to the top of the corporate ladder. But soon the secret was out and the adventures of Helga the Viking Woman were unleashed in the land of lakes and beyond. Helga, my alter ego, first officially came out when I decided to attend a Sunday NFL Viking football playoff rally in downtown Minneapolis. I arrived, of course, in full Helga garb, and soon I was invited up on the stage, but what could I do but perform my first Helga holler? Vikings! Yes, I did my first Helga holler, and we got the crowd of 500 people singing operatically in unison, Vikings! Over and over and over in operatic form. We all sang the Helga holler until the crowd was in a hell of a Helga holler frenzy. That next morning, Monday morning, as I lay in bed relishing the hilarity of the previous night, and before heading into work at Pillsbury Company, the phone rang. At 6 a.m., my sister Barb, who I was living with at the time, heard the ring and answered it, and suddenly said, "Oh my God, really?" And I'm listening to this and thinking, what is going on? Suddenly, she jumped out of bed, ran down the stairs, opened the front door, and grabbed the Minneapolis Star-Tribune. And at that moment, she hollered, "Katie, you better get down here. You're on the front page of the Minneapolis Star-Tribune." So we both had a really good laugh, and I got dressed for success in my little 80s lady corporate suit, bow tie, high-heeled pumps, and went off to work at the Pillsbury Center. As I traveled to the 31st floor of that corporate cubicle land, well, on the ride up, I wondered, I wonder what reaction from my working peers might be. Then I stepped off the elevator, and I soon learned, because taped there to the glass double doors leading to cubicle land was a 14-inch by 8-inch front page photo of Helga the Viking Woman. To make matters worse, the description on the picture was, "Kate Bryan lustily sings the Viking praises." For months after the outing of Helga, my coworkers throughout the Pillsbury Company were sending me copies of that photo via inter-office mail delivery. Now, for you younger folks, there was no internet in those days, no email, no text. And there was this little elf with a rolling cart who actually delivered messages in little envelopes from cubicle to cubicle. A lot slower in those days, but I digress. But it is true. Yes, it is true. These little reminders would arrive with a 3M Post-it note on it saying things like, Kate, I never knew, or va-va-voom, Helga the Viking woman. After that, the adventures of Helga continued. And I decided to leave Pillsbury and go back to college and expand on my engineering degree with a master's in communications and a minor in entrepreneurial studies. But rather than seek a part-time job, I thought that Helga might just be the ticket to my fortune, or at least a way to help me pay for the rent. After shaking the bushes a bit, I began to do special appearances as Helga the Viking woman, most notably for the Minneapolis Symphony fundraiser. I was also a regular guest on the morning radio shows, operatically singing what had now become my trademark cheer. We are the Vikings and we will win. We are behind them through thick and thin. Wherever they go, we will follow. So let's join on in and do the Helga holler, Vikings. To keep things interesting on the radio, sometimes I do a Helga holler in the style of Bach. The Vikings are great. Or Beethoven style. Vikings, the Vikings. Yes, and the popularity of Helga soon increased, and I began to attend games as an unofficial mascot for the Vikings. Unofficial meaning not paid. Most people actually thought I was the mascot for the Vikings, and I was featured on ESPN and major networks covering the games. After a while, however, running up 3 stadium levels and getting the crowd to sing Helga Holler, well, it started to pay off. The invitations to appear in corporate booths came upon me and were plentiful. And operatic Helga hollers and pictures with Helga and Helga singing telegrams soon began paying my rent and graduate school tuition. Helga's biggest paycheck, however, came from corporate America when the Minneapolis Marriott Hotel began flying Helga, moi, to exotic and warm weather destinations as booth bait for Meeting Planners International Conventions, where they were trying to lure convention and meeting planners to hold their meetings at the Marriott Hotel in Minneapolis. And it worked. And Helga also began making celebrity appearances at those conventions, which further expanded Helga's fame and fortune, sort of. Yes, the adventures of Helga the Viking were many. But before I close, let me share a little story about one of Helga's adventures that is most memorable. You see, I was traveling to the Bahamas as part of the Meeting Planners International Trade Show gig, and I flew to Florida and had to go through customs before boarding the last leg of the trip. I'd packed my whole Helga costume with the exception of one thing, my sword. Yes, it was a broomstick with duct tape that had duct tape over a little bit of a cardboard spear, spray painted gold. And I had it slung over my shoulder. And I had to go through customs. Well, I went through customs and there were a few little sneers and some kind of odd questions like, what exactly are you going to do with that sword? But they did let me through. They did let me through. And I made it through, mission accomplished. So I went to the gate and I sat down. And I was just sitting there waiting to get on the plane, very relaxed. And all of a sudden, over the intercom comes an announcement. Will the woman who left her sword please come and collect her sword? Everybody around me was looking around, kind of going, what? Did we just hear that? And then all of a sudden, comes on again, with a little more emphasis. Will the woman who left her sword please come and collect her sword? Well, that wasn't even the end of it. Now people were laughing and just going, what the heck? And then he repeated it again. By this time, everybody's just rolling in the aisles. And I'm like, oh. So I sat there for a little while, and then very inconspicuously, I got up and went and collected my sword. So I walked to the gate with my little sword slung over my shoulder, and I went to the gate, and everybody was on the plane already. But I thought, okay, I'll go on the plane. So I came with my sword slung over my shoulder, and I walked into the cabin, and as I rounded the corner into the cabin of the plane, everyone was smiling with anticipation of the sword woman getting on the plane. So what could I do? I proudly sang the Helga theme song and invited them to be their best selves and sing the Helga holler. We are the Vikings and we will win. We are behind them through thick and thin. Wherever they go, we will follow. So let's all join in and do the Helga holler. 1, 2, 3. Vikings! To which they all applauded. So I'll stop there, but suffice it to say that the adventures of Helga, Viking woman, continued till I returned to my home state of Montana and adopted another alter ego, Rhonda the Rodeo Queen. Yee-haw! And well, let's just say that the adventures of Rhonda the Rodeo Queen would unleash a whole bunch of new stories. Don't get me started. So long from Helga the Viking woman. Viking!